9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. Liftoff.
What's up, guys? What's up? I'm so excited. We roped Dani Gibson in from PTHA here. We've got Philly boy Andrew down there, and we're covering Parx and the Pennsylvania Derby. Dani, how are you?
Great. I'm right here at Parx. I'm actually right off the apron, and you can feel the excitement starting to mount. We were on the backside this morning watching all the horses train, and everyone's coming into the race with their A game, that's for sure.
Your content has been superb. I love seeing Secret Oath on there, Cyberknife. If you're not following Dani on Twitter, you need to start right now. Also follow PTHA 17, and you get all the backside, the horses, the picks, everything. Same with Philly Boy. He's got content, but we're kind of going quick here because we've got Dani for like 2 minutes. So she's got obviously lots to do before tomorrow. But really, before you go, Dani, who's your cotillion pick first?
Okay, my heart is with Secret Oath. It really is. I think it's going to be a showdown in Dare Manor. But after seeing Dare Manor and just how she looks coming into this race, I think Bob Baffert, he knows the formula to win these big races here at Parx. Gives them the time off, the strong workout. She looks fabulous. Also, Gerrymander, don't sleep on her. She's poised to run a big race as well. And then Flavien Prat on Shahama makes me take interest in her. So I'm probably going to do in a Dare Manor and either Shahama or Gerrymander underneath. I haven't quite decided yet. I'll probably make my decision when I see them.
Okay. Well, again, follow her on Twitter and you'll see what her selections are when she finalizes those. So what about the $1 million Parx Pennsylvania Derby? What are we doing there?
All week I was on Taba. Again, Bob Baffert comes into these races so strong. But after seeing Tawny Port train, I feel like he's kind of the wise guy of the Pennsylvania Derby. He looks fabulous. I feel like he's a horse that's peaking right now. Him and Cyberknife, they've shipped beautifully. Their energy levels are good. They look like they're in peak form. But I think Irad, he knows how to win the Pennsylvania Derby. Him and Tawny Port, they're going to give Taba a big run for his money.
I love it. I love it. Well, again, follow PTHA 17 on Twitter. You'll find Dani on there as well. Give her a follow. All of the backside information. I mean, they cover Parx all the time, but it's an awesome horsemen's group, Pennsylvania Thoroughbred Horsemen's Association, obviously. Come on, guys. Dani, thank you. You're the best. I'm just going to keep bugging you on Twitter for more, but I appreciate the time that you put in just to hop on here. So good luck. Right. Have fun.
Have a great rest of your show.
You too. All right, we're bringing Andrew back, and we're going to go through.
Happened.
I know. I was telling these two earlier. I have had the internet perfectly fine at my place since 7:30 this morning, and then we started this live stream, and everything.
Yeah, I already did a show earlier. I'm like, everything's been going good all week, and then my whole tab just closed out. So I was like, okay.
That's all right. We got you back. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you said that you're pretty well versed on races 8 through 12. So why don't we go to 8? And I don't know, you and I can go back and forth. I haven't had huge opinion yet in the Pennsylvania Derby, but I have opinions pretty much everywhere else. So race 8 is the Greenwood Cup. It is a grade 3. We're looking at 1.5 miles on the dirt. So 2-turn race here, 200,000. This is 3-year-olds and up. The cool thing about this card at Pennsylvania and in Parx is we have like some pretty decent full fields. There's a race with like 14 horses. Mm-hmm. There's AEs out the wazoo, which after the Kentucky Derby, I think everyone needs to look at AEs because you never know what's going to happen, aka Rich Strike. But so race 8, the Greenwood Cup grade 3, who are you looking at for this 1.5 mile 2-turn race?
I'm all over Fearless. It's gonna be a little chalky, but I think Fearless is definitely the horse to beat in this race. The horse just likes to be at this distance, and it's dominated pretty much every race that he's been in this year. A couple horses I like underneath are Saffie Joseph's horse, the Reds. Ran some good races up at Saratoga during the summer. Definitely is a grinder type of horse, which those horses at Parx do well. And Safi always does well at Parx as well. So I like that horse underneath, and maybe even if Fearless doesn't show up, the Reds could probably be right there in the mix. And then I'm going to go with a local horse, Forewarned for Uriah St. Louis. I think this is one of Uriah's best shots of the day. I do like some of his 2-year-olds earlier in the card, but for the stakes races wise, I think that this horse has a good shot. Didn't run too good last year in the Greenwood Cup, but this horse is a lot better now. I mean, the horse has earned over $900,000 in its career, and it doesn't have that many huge wins, but it's always there in the mix. So I think the longer the horse goes, Forewarned's a good horse to have underneath.
I'm fading your Forewarned, and I'm adding Riding with Biden to your mix here. Do we have a rider yet? With Riding with Biden, it has no rider yet.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything yet.
Okay.
I know some of the horses throughout the card that had no rider called on have riders now, but I'm not sure about Riding with Biden.
I don't know if that'll change, any of my opinions, but I 2 back at Laurel with 1 1/8, winning by 6 lengths, having a speed figure of 100. I just think that this one is something to look at. Last speed figure is 89, the one before that 95, and these are decent races. To your Safi Joseph, which all love for Safi, and I do think he's a sleeper. Like, I think he kind of like creeps up and gets you. But that horse in particular, like the last 2 at Saratoga, I mean, they've been optional claiming 62,000. So yeah, 1 good speed, and then the second one it was 2 by 3 1/4 lengths. But I don't know that I can put the Reds over some of these other ones that have won $100,000 races. But to your Fearless, I mean, you can't really fade Fearless. Shit. 6-5, Luis Saez, Todd Pletcher. Todd came in for the Pennsylvania Day, right? What was that? 2 weeks ago, August 22nd? No.
Yeah, it was about a month ago. Yeah.
And did pretty darn good with IRAD. So I think you've got to kind of look at all of Todd Pletcher's and just be forewarned, but not this horse, that he's coming to play pretty big. So but that's a good race. I'm excited for that one. Race 9 is the Turf Monster. It's a grade 3, 5 furlongs, 300,000. This is a sprint, going quick on the turf. We've got, how many horses we got in this race? I mean, this has got 12 horses with 2 also eligibles that I haven't looked at. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't looked at the AEs, even though I just said that you should. You have a really harsh opinion in this one?
I think it's between 3 horses and 3 horses only. But I really think the horse that is the one that I would say makes the race is the horse on the rail. That's right for Michael Moore. Gets local jockey Andy Hernandez. The Monmouth races and even the Pimlico race that this horse had a couple races back would beat this field. Only concern is the no Lasix. The last race with no Lasix, it wasn't the best, but that was also at Saratoga against a lot tougher, in my opinion. So, breaking from the rail, the turf course has been playing to speed favoring this week. I think that, if that's the right breaks on top, it might be the one to catch. I also like Nothing Better for Duarte. This horse is another horse that doesn't need the lead, but will be forwardly placed and might trip out. Then and also gets Luis Saez aboard, which is never a bad thing. And then I like Surprise Boss as a horse to come off the pace. Picks up Irad Ortiz. It's a former Juan Vasquez horse, which people might not be too happy about, but this horse, I was there at Belmont when the horse won with Kendrick aboard, and it was a very, very impressive effort. And then I think that if it runs that similar type of race, this horse has a shot at the end of the race come Saturday.
Okay, I'm with you. I'm a little bit going with my heart on this, which always tends to burn me here. But Smooth B is one that I'm looking at. Last time out, won by 3 1/4 with the same jock that's aboard now, Pennington. Before that was a turf 5.5 and got 3rd. I don't know. Like, I'm looking at some of these other ones, and I think just Smooth B sitting at 6-1. Maybe there's some value there, and maybe this horse can creep up quickly. But there's a lot more to look at in this race, and I don't know. I think that's a hard pick for me, which again always burns me badly. So, all right, let's go to race. Golly, I printed out these 44 pages to print out the PPs at Parx, but it's worth it for a big day. All right, race 10 at Park, 6 furlongs. This is the Gallant Bob Grade 2. This one is super interesting, I think. A lot of really nice horses in here, including Speaking. You've got Todd Pletchers. You've got Wesley Wards. I mean, you've got big dogs, little dogs, everything. What's your big opinion in this one, race 10?
I wish the horse had a better post, but I'm going with the 14 Scaramouche. Local horse, another one that might need Lasix more than not having it, which today he won't have it. But I really do think that this horse is, even with the hurdles it has to overcome, you get Johnny Velasquez in the irons, which is always a good sign to help horses get over hurdles. But I think that horse is definitely the horse for course, 5 or 6 at Parx. And then I also like Nakatomi, and I like Provocateur. I like, a couple other horses underneath.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I do like a long shot, which is the 6, Jelly Nougat. For
Really?
JKX Racing, Ernesto Padilla Preciado, Abner Adorno in the irons. I think that, JKX Racing, when he brings horses from Churchill to Parx, they usually fire first time out. This is another one. And to put it in an aggressive spot like this, shows that they have confidence. So I think that, it might not win, but definitely going to be a big price, and you could use it underneath.
Under. Interesting. I like it. My long shot is Witty, the number 8 horse. It kind of goes back and forth here, but Jersey Shore was second by 2 lengths. That was 2 races back. Up 6 furlongs. They tried it at a mile and a 16th, flunked, don't care, throw that race out. And you've got some other wins at $100,000, 7 furlongs. Like, it goes all over the place and performs just fine. So that's mine. But also to the 12, a lot of hope if we're looking at like other things for long shots. If you look at the Charlestown race here, that race is super tight turns. So some horses just don't do well at Charlestown coming out. This horse went out of the 9 hole, 7th, 6th, 2nd, 1st, won by 2.5, 2 3/4. I just find this turn of foot, even though it's more of an early speed horse, to be pretty interesting. So I don't know. I think it would be an interesting horse to see in this race, but you're up against some other ones. I like Nakatomi. Lightning Larry with Chantel is an interesting one to me. A little extra weight on this horse if people care about weight, but I think Chantel will actually even that out. So I'm not worried about the weight here. And then what it says, what's the grade 3 at Pimlico? What's that race called?
Oh, let me see.
It's like
I forget which one it is too.
I know, like they shorten them, and sometimes you know exactly what they are, and sometimes you don't. Well, Chantel won with Lightning Larry at Pimlico at that.
Yeah, race. I forget which one that is, but it's one of those like unique local grade 3s that they have.
Yeah. And last time out, the Jersey Shore at Monmouth, it looks like it bumped at the start. Be interesting to see the replay there, which depending on where your people
I have knowledge on the replay. We looked I looked at it last night. If the horse lost about like 5 lengths out the start and then came flying late. So if he probably broke clean that day, he probably wins that race.
Okay.
But I also just don't know if the horse really likes Parx that much. The 2 wins came when it was 2-year-old and all that, but since then it's kind of been that last race at Parx wasn't the best. So
yeah.
But no, if it broke clean last time, probably runs down Provocateur. So
interesting. Yeah, I'm this is one of my favorite races on the card. I think that there's some awesome horses, jockeys, trainers, combos. Race 10, the Gallant Bob will be super interesting. So anyone that's listening, throw it in the comments who you think is going to win race 10. It would be interesting to see what you think. 6 furlongs and 300K. And I like some of the ship-ins. Like, again, like Chantel coming in, like shit, that's going to be fun to watch. So good luck to all. And so am I telling my age over you? Do you know where Scaramouche comes from?
Not the name, no, but it sounds super familiar. So if you say it,
Queen,
I probably...
do you know the Queen song?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah. There you go.
I knew I heard it from somewhere. So
now you're gonna hear it over and over again in your head, Scaramouche. Okay. All right, we're on to race 11 here. This is the Cotillion. This is pretty much the ladies' headliner of the day to the PA Derby. Grade 1, $1 million, mile and a 16th. Obviously a lot of talk is to Secret Oath, who looks freaking fire, but there are some awesome horses in this race, including Green Up coming out of the first post, Adair Manor, which Danny touched on early on, And I threw Beach Days out, so I don't need to talk about that one. Who do you like in this race?
I love Green Up. And it seems like it's going to be the horse that might even go off at the favorite because everybody apparently is on Green Up, from what I've heard and been told. But I was at Parx for Green Up's Catherine Sophia race. I was there, and it was very impressive visually. To go from an 86 buyer to a 100 buyer in your Parx debut is impressive in its own, because not many horses can take that step forward at Parx. But she really is, I think she still has more in the tank. I think she could even do better than that race. She was geared down. She really, the run line suggests that she was up front the whole race. But if you watch the replay, she was about third the whole race, and she was actually wide the whole trip. And then when she made her move, she did it with ease. Irad was in the middle of the track and basically easing up on the horse at the 8th pole. So I think that she definitely is the one that is going to be. She's not going to be 6-1. She'd probably be 2 to 3 to 1. But I think it's between her and Secret Oath. Secret Oath has no excuses today. There's no nest. You get a little bit of a class relief in a way. So if Secret Oath has her A game, she's going to be the one to beat. But I'm going to choose Green Up as my top choice.
So of these two, when we're talking about pace and race setup, would you think that Green Up will break first and throw the speed to the front, and then Secret Oath will potentially close on her? Is that how you think that would go down?
I think actually the speed is going to come from the outside Society. But if Society doesn't break, I mean, Irad should be able to break out of the gate clean with Green Up. Doesn't need the lead. The last race suggested that. But if she does get the lead, it's going to be hard to catch her. Secret Oath probably be a little bit forwardly placed. But if Green Up and Irad break from the rail and they get on top early, he might get loose and with her underneath him, and then see how we go from there.
Yep. Yeah. So I was actually just talking to somebody with Society, being the early speed here. If we look at time form US pace figures, early is 117, which the race at Churchill Downs, when she broke out first and she stayed first all the way through, her and Tyler Gaffleon put up pretty slow fractions. But I mean, obviously was able to manage the race and stay first and win. But I don't think she's going to be able to do that here. You've got too much aggression and I mean good aggression riding. Okay, guys, so just correct that. Aggressive riders and horses in this one. She's not going to be able to put up slow fractions, keep the pace, and just like put a sleeper on the field. So it'll be interesting to see what Society does, even though she's definitely the speed in the race. But to Green Up, I definitely think she's probably the second speed in the race. Maybe a Dare Manor. You've got an early fig there too as well. So it'll be interesting. But yeah, I can't go against you on either of those picks. I know Dani said Gerrymander was also one not to sleep on. I can fade this horse personally. Sorry, Chad. I'm just not in love with, I don't know, a lot of it. Like Alabama grade 1, obviously a very competitive race. Just didn't really show up there. Has had time off on other ones. And I don't know, there's just some massive inconsistencies from that horse. But she's always in tough fields too. So what do you think about Gerrymander?
Yeah, I'm not a huge Gerrymander fan. If I was going to use some horses underneath, it'd be like Shahama. I'm not a big a Dare Manor fan either. I think both those horses are kind of a step beloo this class. Simply because I think Dare Manor is a decent horse, and I think that she has ability, but not running since Black Eyed Susan, and then on top of that, you're shipping out east because she shipped back west to train. I just think that she doesn't really like to pass horses yet. She's still maturing. And I don't want to take a shot with a horse that's going to be bet down in the cotillion if I think that she's still maturing. Right. So yeah, those two I'm kind of leaving off tickets. If I had to go top 3, it's 1, 6, 7 here, and nobody else really.
Shahama. I like it. 1, 6, 7. All right. Well, let's go to the big one. This is the grade 1, also $1 million race. So equal pay, like female soccer, male soccer. So Parx, shout out to you guys here. Pennsylvania Derby, grade 1, 1 mile and an 1/8 here. Obviously 2 turns. The 3-year-olds that we saw in the Kentucky Derby are back, and they're taking over Pennsylvania tomorrow. Who's your main pick here?
Well, I mean, if people watched our TikTok, you would see this already. But I love Tawnyport. I know Danny said it's the wise guy horse, which I agree. I think this horse might actually be a little bit bet down. Because apparently a lot of people like Tawnyport, and not just me. I thought I was gonna be the one that was the smart guy to take him.
Yeah,
But
smart guy in the room. I
um,
like it.
I like Tawnyport going into the Derby, but I knew that this horse was going to be like a fall, type of horse, later in the year.
Yeah.
It just had that type of feeling that this horse wasn't quite ready for the Derby, and then still performed well in the Derby. I mean, finishing 7th in a Kentucky Derby is good in its own, especially 80-1. But I think Tawnyport's last race, when he came 3rd to Epicenter and Zandon, that horse didn't want to be on the inside. If the horse was outside where Zandon was at, this horse probably gets 2nd, because once he got past the rail, past early voting, he rebroke again, and then he almost got up for 2nd. So I think Tawnyport still has a little bit left in the tank, and I think that this horse is actually improving in each start and sitting on a monster effort. I also like Cyberknife. It's a logical horse. Cyberknife, a very good horse and in very good form, and Brad Cox is very high on him. But the Haskell Taba should have won that race. So I like Taba today too, because I think Taba's more fit today. If Baffert wins, fun fact, he becomes a leading trainer for most PA Derby wins at 4. He's tied at 3 right now, I believe, with Woody Stevens and Nick Zito. So I think it's them 3. So if he wins, he gets to hold the record. So he's definitely bringing his A game with Taba. And Taba definitely should have won the Haskell. But, I wasn't a big fan of the ride with Mike Smith, swinging him out wide. Hopefully that doesn't happen today, because if he gets stuck wide or he gets checked, you can't do that at Parx. You're basically out of the game at that rate. So hopefully clean trip. And I think it's between the Tawnyport, Cyberknife, and Taba.
So I'm going to ask you, there's some people that are on Skippy Longstocking and thinks that this is his race. Why? Do you know? Because I'm like looking at this and I'm like, I do a lot with my heart, but I can't get back this one.
Yeah.
Why are people loving a little bit on Skippy?
I think that this kind of feels like the Math Wizard of 2019. Safi won with Math Wizard 2019, and nobody really knew who Math Wizard was. I think he won at 30+1 odds with IRAD. So Safi's gonna bring his A game, he always does. But I don't know. I think the Belmont was a little sneakier than the run line suggests. Mm-hmm. And then the West Virginia Derby was very good, but that was also in the slop. There's not gonna be any rain today. But those workouts since the West Virginia Derby at Saratoga are very, very good. Mm-hmm. So I can see why people like it. It's going to be a price. It's going to be double-digit odds. I actually kind of like White Abarrio too, if for underneath. I think Parx is the type of track that White Abarrio kind of needs. He definitely likes a deeper surface. He did good in the Ohio Derby, which is a deeper surface. Parx is a deep surface. So, yeah, I mean, Safi has 2 good shots. I don't know if they're the best options in this race, but they definitely have a shot to hit the board or even round out a superfecta.
Yeah, well, I mean, sometimes that's where you're going to make your money if everybody is betting, the short prices of Taiba. So where are you at with Zandon? You're fading Zandon?
Oh, I'm not a Zandon fan at all. But no disrespect to the horse or anything like that. But I never been a Zandon fan.
Yeah.
Even into the Derby, wasn't a Zandon fan. Although I did have Zandon on my tickets for the Derby, and he ran a good race, but I just don't think he likes to pass horses as often as others in this race. So
I wonder if you and I don't know what it is, because the same thing, it's like no disrespect. Like obviously you look at the form and the horse is pretty darn good. I just don't like him. I don't know what it is. I just don't like him. So kind of with you on that one. Well, so you were talking about deep surface. Obviously, we call you the king of Parx. You know Parx track really well, and some of the runners, the connections. Mm-hmm. What are some of the, I guess, insider tips, or is there anything how the track runs? You talked about deep surface. You talked about checking, going wide. Like, what are some of the idiosyncrasies of Parx that, if people are betting for the first time or creating their stable duels for the first time, that maybe it would be worth knowing?
Well, the number one rule at Parx is that you have to break out of the gate. If you don't break out of the gate sharply, you're basically done. And that goes for a claiming $10,000 race or a grade 1. So you got to find the jockeys that are good gate riders. A lot of the local jockeys are not so much the jockeys that ship in, because they're riding at race tracks that you can maybe miss the break and then sit off. But at Parx, most of the time, these local jockeys are pumping out of the gate. I mean, they're hard riding from the start to the end, and the races are usually over by maybe the quarter pole. You know, the races are usually decided for local races. But I think right now, the way the track's been playing, especially this week when I was up at the racetrack, I was there Monday and Wednesday. If you're not 3 lengths within the leader turning for home on the dirt, you don't have a shot.
You're done. You're done.
You don't have a shot.
Okay.
I've seen some horses that were dueling going 22-44, and then them 2 are the only ones left at the end. So it's definitely a track that holds the speed better than most. You can close. There is horses that close, but it's a really grinding type of track. You have to have a horse that's fit. If you're not fit, you don't have a shot. If you're just, if you're not 100%, you're pretty much done. And the turf course is kind of the same. It's a little bit like Gulfstream. It's kind of like a dirty turf course type of thing. It's not the best.
Dirty turf. I love it.
But it's been in good form lately. We got a little rain yesterday, so it should be a little bit more fresh. The one turf race I watched on Wednesday, it was the first 2 horses ran 1-2 all the way around. And then a couple horses came flying late, but they weren't going to catch the top 2. So kind of want to be forwardly placed there too. The rail looked good. Other than that, watch out for the local horses. It's their big day. That's why I like a couple horses. I like Naval Aviator a little bit in the PA Derby too as a long shot play for local connections. So yeah, you just got to keep an eye out for the local team, and hopefully everybody gets around safe.
Yeah, this is definitely a day that everybody needs to be fit, bring their A game. I mean, probably the most exciting race card period on Saturday comparison with all the other racetracks going on. We've got the Oklahoma Derby on Sunday, and that's a pretty exciting card on Sunday as well in the Stable Duel app. But this is going to be awesome. Thank you so much for your insight. I appreciate it. Andrew's going to be on track. If anybody's on track, hit him up on Twitter. It's PhillyBoy415. He's awesome to hang out with, good guy to grab a beer with, horses, connections, everything. And yeah, hopefully we'll see some good stuff from you Saturday, and good luck.
And don't forget to play the game. The game's on Saturday.
$50
$50 one, $5 one. We got 2 options. So it's always good to know.
Yeah, $5 if you want to get in and play along. You'll see Philly Boy 415 on probably both of them. $50 for the big one, thousands of dollars to win there. And again, you're setting it before first post. It's kind of like what is it? George Foreman, set it and forget. Don't forget it. But if there's scratches, you come back in and replace. But it's going to be a fun day. So
yeah, first post is at noon. So 12:05. So early game. So.
Get in the app now and create your stables. I think that's it, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Like the stream if you don't mind. Subscribe to Stable Duel. Hit us up on Twitter, and more content probably coming out between now and tomorrow. But good luck this weekend. And thanks, Andrew. You're the best.
Yeah, thanks for having me.